Hello and welcome to the Art Hitman, and today I'm going to show you how to draw Sonic the Werehog. Alright, I'm going to start off by putting a border at the top so we know where it ends. Put a line divided in half. Find the bottom of the page here, mark that off. Now for this, it's not landscape, it's going to be vertical. It's going to be portrait style, because we have Werehog standing up, so we want to make sure we didn't compress them doing it on landscape. So let's start with a nice size circle.
And please help me get 50 likes and 10 comments on these how to draw videos.
I'm going to go ahead and put Werehog's body in. And it's kind of like a, I call it a kidney bean shape. Try to, identify shapes as much as I possibly can so that it's visual when you see it. And then we're going to go ahead and put in a line for where his legs are going to come in and drop his legs in. Then you want to close it off because we have to put his sneakers in. Go to the outside on the left and the right. Now, for his shoulders, the shoulders are pretty broad and big, and he has huge arms. So I'm going to broaden his shoulder. So just bring the lines out for his shoulder a little bit. Create a circle here that's going to be for his shoulder, and then his arm. I'm going to do like a half circle shape and drop a circle in there. Now, go ahead and draw another circle. And then we're going to put in a square shape. This is going to indicate where his hand is going to be. Now, we're going to go ahead and go right on the other side. His other arm, which is left arm, is going to be coming forward. So we'll draw a circle for his shoulder and two lines indicated here for his arm. And then put a nice size circle in. This is going to be where his, let's say, fur is going to be. Then his hand is going to come out of that. And his hand is coming forward, so it's going to be fairly big. So put a nice size rectangular shape for his hand. Now, for his feet, or I should say his sneakers, we're going to put in those same shapes, which I call donut shapes. And bring them in a little bit. Make them look like droopy socks, or socks that are lazy. That's what I like to describe them as. Then put his foot in, which is a half oval shape, as you can see. Not completely going off the page because we have to put the bottom of the sneaker in. Now for his other foot is pointing towards the outside of the paper. So we're going to point in that direction. And then close the front of it by putting a kind of like a shape that goes up on an angle and then around. Don't completely come to the bottom because he has a border for the bottom of his sneaker. Now, I'm going to move up to his head. I'm going to put a line in for the eye line. Now, he's going to be 3/4. So if you notice I'm putting a half arc here, that's indicating that his eyes or his face is not going to be completely frontal. So I'm going to go ahead and start with an oval shape at the bottom. If you follow directly underneath that shape, it's going to be an oval that's at the bottom of his head and right on his chest. Once you do that, you want to go ahead and put the frown for his eye, which is going to be a round. It's going to come up and go off the side of that oval I just put in. Then you want to repeat the same thing, so you kind of want to measure it by putting a line in between. That kind of helps too with measurement. And swing that side around. Now if you notice, the eyes are going to be different because they're not frontal. One eye is closer to you, so it's wider, then the other eye is going to be thinner. Now, I want to put his nose in. His nose is going to come up and around and back down again. A simple, small kidney bean shape. For his mouth, it's going to kind of almost look like a smile, but he's actually growling, so we're going to swing that around at the corners of his mouth and then close it. come underneath and then wrap it the same way. Almost looks like a figure eight if you think about a figure eight. Then you want to come to the outside of his mouth and then bring that around for the border. And by border I mean the outside of his mouth. Now, complete the right side of his face by swinging it around and making an arc. Now we're going to work on his frown here, which is this muscle that I'm sketching in here. Then it's going to come up and it's just following the shape that we already have established. It's his eyebrow, so when you put that in, that's pretty much what the eyebrow is going to look like. And then come to the outside, repeat the same thing, and then come in and then stop right there. Now for his eye, we notice I drew a line here. This line is indicating where I want the eye to be. Come in the center, fill that in, put a little highlight there, and repeat the same thing for his right eye. Have it come to the very edge. Now, we're going to deal with his overall head shape. So out of the top of the circle that I already have drawn, have that arc around and completely come all the way to the opposite side of his left side. From his right to his left. Then there's another part to it. You want to swing that out and down onto his shoulder. His shoulder is going to be raised a little bit. So I'm going to bring that line up a little bit. And darken that in and clean up the other line. Come right out of that one and then close the top line. And then seal it. Now, we're going to put his ears in. So for his ears, you want to put an oval shape there. And then have it come out the top of his head, just like that. Almost up to where the line is drawn for the top of the page. Come to the inside or the interior of the ear and repeat the same shape. And we're going to measure that, move it over, and then put it on the right side. Notice I'm putting my pencil at the top so that I can know how high the other ear needs to go. And then close that. And you could lightly sketch this in. You don't have to always go dark. As you notice, I'm going light. If I'm not sure, if I'm sure, I'll darken it in. Checking it again to make sure it's balanced. Now we're going to work on his mouth a little bit. So I'm going to clean this area up just a little bit. Now we're going to put his fang in. So for his fang or his tooth, I'm going to let that come down past the bottom lip. Close that out and shave that part in. And we're going to create other small teeth in there. Close off the bottom part of his mouth. Do the same thing for his right side. Put a highlight there on his nose. Now I'm drawing a line through both of these here so that you see that he actually has lines that kind of come up and down, and then that way you can match both sides here. Now we're going to work on his upper body. So we're going to bring this line in for his chest and swing it around. Go all the way down to where his sneaker is. Come on the inside. At this point now we're darkening in the contour of his body. Do the same thing for his left side. Now, with his right arm, well, before we get there, let me sketch in. He has a piece. If you notice, I put a circle and divided it in half, because that's the way we know how far over on his chest it's supposed to be, because he's standing 3/4. And it's almost like a teardrop shape upside down. I'm going to go ahead and put his shoulder in. It's a simple line that goes straight down to what we already drew in earlier. Close that, and then come around to the other side. And off of his elbow, there's a little hair that sticks out there, so indicating the hair on his arm. Now we're going to work on the fur on his wrist. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get his hand established. So let's put in 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And the way we're going to work on his fist is I usually like to start, let me go a bit lighter here with the detail, my mechanical pencil, and I usually like to start with the pinky. So with the pinky, we're going to kind of put in a line there and then have it fold under, if you notice that. Then the palm is going to come around. And we'll move to the middle finger, which is a prominent knuckle that sticks out. I'm going to bring that around. Then we're going to go to the ring finger. Repeat that exact same shape we just did with the middle finger. And I'm counting them just to make sure I have all the right amount of fingers. It's okay to do that. Bring that knuckle out, let it protrude a little bit past the other line. And then for his thumb, let his thumb overlap the index and the middle finger. We're going to start to put his nail in. Of course, only the thumbnail is the one that's revealed, so we'll draw that in. Now, back to the fur around his hand. We're going to come up a little bit and put a couple of strands where his wrists are. And then immediately start to work on the fur on the outside. So with this, it's just pretty much swaying the pencil in a way that looks like hair would flow. So definitely if you need to pause or slow down for a minute and catch up, which is fine because these shapes all repeat themselves as well. You're going out to in to out to in, and then in into the outer until you get to his thumb, and then bring that around and then close it. Now we're working on the left arm. So let's bring the bottom part of his arm in. Let that line come out. And we're going to go ahead on and sketch the oval shape or circle shape for the fur. Now, this circle I'm putting in here is for the thumb. Line that comes out of that circle, let me switch pencils here for a little more detail, is going to be where the index finger is going to go. That's going to wrap around and then come down right there. And you want to close the other side of it and put the first finger in. Immediately after that, you're going to go to the middle finger. Bring that around, and that's going to be a bit longer than the index finger, so come down a little bit. Now for the third finger, that's going to come down a little bit more. If you notice, they are in the descending order. Finally, the pinky is going to come all the way around and under. Now for the thumb, we're going to bring the line the opposite way, past the wrist. And then we're going to have like almost like an oval or a kidney bean shape for the thumb. We're going to bring another line in. And this right here is going to be the palm around the circle that we drew in the beginning. Close that off near the pinky. Then you have the hand that's put in. Going back to my mechanical pencil, so because we're going to start putting in detail now, I'm going to go ahead and put the fur in on his left arm. So just like we did with the right, we're repeating shapes that's going to be on the left. That's kind of like shark's fins or points that kind of curve and arc and twist a little bit. And notice out of the ring finger, I'm swinging out the other part and closing it. I'm going to swing under on this one and then go up to a little hill and then go the opposite direction. If you notice, I've changed directions with the fur, and then it's going to come back in towards the thumb and then close that. Of course, under the underside to where his palm is, you're going to have a little, maybe one strand of fur. Now, add a line here to finish off the index finger. Then we're going to start to deal with the nails. For his nails, they are all teardrop shapes and upside down. So when you think of a teardrop shape, just think about a circle at the bottom, a half circle, and then closing it at the top when it comes to a point. And repeat those on each finger. And then finally, we'll do that for the pinky. Now, he has a tail. You want to put a tail in that swings back upward, not too close to the thumb or overlapping, and then he has one behind his head that comes down near the tail. Now we're going to deal with his sneakers. For his sneakers, we're just going to follow the contour that's already there, or the shape that's already there. And remember, when you're putting the line in for something that's already been drawn, you're just redefining it with the pencil already. Now these lines right here are indicate the wrinkles in the socks he's wearing. And then you're going to come down and close off the bottom part of the sneaker by darkening that in. Now I'm going to divide the sneaker in half because it comes to a point. I'm going to bring that in and then come down on the other side, on the outer side of the sneaker. Repeat that same shape as a border, and it actually completes the bottom part of a sneaker. Close off the bottom. Now there's an arc that goes in the middle of his sneaker. Come around to the other side. And repeat the same thing. Now he has spikes on his sneakers, so we're going to put the one in the middle right here. And that's just essentially a triangle shape. And there's 3 of them. And one that comes out on the side here. And then there's another one that comes on the inside towards his leg. Now at the bottom he has 2 spikes in the front. We're going to put one there. And then put another one. We put a line in between the 2. They're kind of like cleats, so we want to put that in there. Now we're moving over to his right foot. With his right foot, we're going to essentially be doing the exact same thing that we did on his left foot. The only difference is this is the profile or the side of the sneaker. So we're going to put these lines in that's going to define the sock. And we have those 2 lines that's going to curve around the side of a sneaker. Then for the bottom, we're going to close that in and make that neat. And put a spike right on top. And then come down. That's another triangle. And on the side it's going to be a circle because we can't see that from that angle. So put the circle shape in and then put the other one on the other side. And then close that off. Now we're going to put a couple of spikes at the bottom of his left cleat. And then spread them out and make them as even as possible. You can count them off if you want to. We're at 4 so far, and then 5. He has a couple of them at the bottom on his left foot. Now, if you're drawing with me up to this point, you just drew Werehog. I'm going to erase it, make it look nice and neat, and at the end, you can pause it to take a look at it.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe by clicking this round button at the bottom. Also, click one of the 2 videos at the top. Please like this video, tell a friend, and share it on Facebook. Thank you.
The Art Hitman.